You know, summer's just around the corner, which means warmer temperatures, trips to the pool and golf course, Father's Day on June 21st, and grilling out in the backyard. Dad doesn't want another tie or watch. He wants the tender, juicy taste of his favorite steak grilled to perfection. So this Father's Day, give your grill master something the whole family will enjoy. The finest proteins from Omaha Steaks. Every steak and entree is flash frozen and vacuum sealed at the moment of carving. So no matter when your dad enjoys his meal, it will taste as fresh as the day it was carved. When you order from Omaha Steaks, your satisfaction is always guaranteed. So you can order with complete confidence. A gift from Omaha Steaks is something the whole family can indulge in to celebrate the holiday. This Father's Day, give the dads in your life something to savor. World-famous Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code YUM at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code YUM at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details.
Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
In the early morning hours of December 10th, 1999, an 18-year-old UCLA freshman finished playing a computer game in his dorm room, stepped into the hallway to high-five the friend he'd been playing against, and walked back toward his own room. But when his roommate woke up the next morning, Michael Negrete was gone. Bloodhounds traced his scent to a bus stop a few blocks away, but then the trail just stopped. Michael hadn't been in trouble. He hadn't been depressed. He hadn't been running with a bad crowd. There were absolutely no red flags in his life and nothing that would lead anyone to believe he wouldn't finish the first semester of college and go home with everyone else. In over 26 years, there's been no body, no arrest, no confirmed sighting, and not a single dollar taken out of his bank account. Police have never named a suspect, and they've never found Michael. When a person goes missing, there's a special kind of pain in the not knowing. I want to tell the stories of those who never came home. Today, I want to tell you the story of Michael Negrete. I'm Kona Gallagher.
And I'm Ethan Flick.
And this is And Then They Were Gone. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Thank you for joining us once again. I'm Kona.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're the husband and wife team behind this podcast. Each week, I tell you the story of an unsolved missing persons case. Ethan doesn't know anything about the case going into the episode and is here to provide his reactions and questions in real time, hopefully asking some of the same ones you have at home. So this case is so confounding because, like I mentioned in the intro, there are absolutely no warning signs that something might happen to Michael. You know, like, because he was in college when he disappeared, I immediately went to the story of Bryce Laspisa, who also was in college, but like he was acting oddly before his disappearance.
Right.
And, you know, that's the case with a lot of our young adult cases, right? Like there's usually something going on in their lives, some sort of turmoil, some sort of, you know.
Yeah, where they're acting despondent. There's some sort of mental health issue.
Right. And there just doesn't seem to be any of that here.
I mean, I already have my theories.
Already? Just from that?
Oh, yeah, right away.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously we'll get to that. But yeah, it's crazy. And then, you know, also we have two boys who are getting ready to go into college in a year. So I just figured this would just like give us nightmares.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Horrible stuff. Oh, also, you know, not to get too chit-chatty, but I came across a Reddit thread yesterday where somebody was recommending the podcast. And it was really, really funny because they were, you know, being very kind. Like I was reading the whole thread, like waiting to have my feelings hurt, but everybody was like really nice.
Oh, including about me?
No, including about you. But it was so funny. But one person did say, they're like, I don't know. I don't buy that Ethan is as clueless about these cases. He's like, he's in law enforcement. There's no way he hasn't heard of at least some of these. And I had to respond. I was like, no, he's definitely that clueless. I promise you.
Okay, but it's because of the nature of my job. Like I'm not a street cop. Like I don't know. I mean, that's just not what I do. Like missing persons. I mean, homicides don't even come across, you know, anything that I have to do with.
I know. It was just so funny because she was just like, I don't know. I don't buy it. I was like, oh, girl.
There's a whole myriad of law enforcement that nobody understands. They think if you're a cop, then you're a cop and you're clued into everything. And it's like there's so much to law enforcement outside of just being like your local police department.
Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, shout out to the Reddit thread that I got to see yesterday. That really brightened my afternoon. So we've also had a few folks join us over on Patreon. So I do want to take a quick moment to give them a shout out. Thank you to Erica M. and Mads P. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you so much.
As a reminder, if you'd like to get our episodes ad-free and sometimes early, you can join us over on Patreon at any level, starting at just $2 a month. You'll also get a free copy of the ebook that I wrote. So now, thank you for indulging me. Let's get into the story of Michael Negrete. Michael William Negrete was born on March 25th, 1981 to Miguel and Mary Negrete. He's the oldest of 3 children and has 2 younger brothers, David and Steve. The Negrete family lived in the Rancho Bernardo area of San Diego County, California, and Michael graduated from Rancho Bernardo High School in 1999. I love when we get like little details about the people that we cover because, it's a lot of times we don't. A lot of times all we know about them is how they disappeared.
Right.
But the Charlie Project page on Michael actually had all these really cute details about him. So according to that, Michael had a sudden loud laugh and would sing jazz songs to himself. And like many of us in the 90s, he loved talking about Simpsons trivia. He was obsessed with The Simpsons. And he said the word dupe when he was pleased about something, which is not slang that I've ever heard before.
I mean, I've heard dope, obviously, but like dupe?
Yeah, dupe. I don't know. Maybe it's a typo. Maybe he was just starting his own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, the 90s were a wild time.
It really was. We didn't have a lot going on. So, you're just making up words and stuff. But Michael was incredibly smart and talented. His passion was music, and he was an award-winning jazz trumpet player. He was also academically gifted, so after graduation, he won a music scholarship and headed to UCLA as a music major. And everybody who knew Michael, there was like a Web Sleuths forum on him that I read where a couple people popped up who had gone to high school with him or whatever. And they were all like, he's basically the smartest person we knew. It was crazy how brilliant this guy was and just incredibly musically talented as well. So once he got to UCLA, Michael hit the ground running and joined a band. He played trumpet and steel drums for a band called Island Fever. So everybody in the band was older. These were not UCLA students at all. They were adults who had this band, and they let this 18-year-old kid in because he was just that good. And he was also really dedicated. He took everything very seriously, which definitely comes into play in terms of the story. Michael was, by every single account, a happy, well-liked, normal kid. He had friends and he was a strong student. There was no depression that anyone knew of, no drug or alcohol problem, no debts, no enemies, no secret life, and nobody had it out for him. Basically, there were no warning signs leading up to December 10th, 1999, and that's exactly what has made this case so difficult to solve. On the evening of Thursday, December 9th, 1999, Michael had what seemed to have been a pretty ordinary night for him. He played a concert with Island Fever, and afterwards there was a party in his dorm. Michael lived in Dykstra Hall, which is one of the big high-rise dorms at UCLA. The party was on his floor, which was the 6th. It was right before finals, and it was just a pretty typical end-of-semester dorm party. There were maybe 15 or 20 students, and it was hosted in the room of one of his best friends at school, Ross Wolf, who lived right across the hall. Now, like I said, this whole evening was extremely typical. The only thing that struck me as even a little weird was that according to the early news articles, they were drinking margaritas at the party.
Margaritas?
Yeah, right? Like, doesn't...
What college kid does that?
That's what I was saying, especially like in a dorm room party.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just picturing all these dudes sitting around on a Thursday night sipping margaritas. Like, that just seemed really bizarre to me, but...
Well, I mean, especially because, this is 99.
Yeah.
So, this was kind of predates the whole like pre-mixed margaritas in a can.
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like, you were having to like make margaritas.
If you were making margaritas, you had to like buy the mix. You had to have a blender. You know what I mean? Like,
which just sounds like
so
much work.
That college kids typically do.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe UCLA is different, man, But in any case, once the party was over, Michael went back to his room across the hall. But he wasn't ready for bed. Instead, he got onto his computer and played a video game. Now, this part is very 90s because Michael wasn't playing online. He was playing on the intranet, so via local area network. He was playing with another kid who lived in his dorm. Now, what's not clear is if it was just the two of them or if there were other kids in the building who were playing as well, but it would have been people who were just right there in the building.
Right.
So again, it wouldn't have been strangers or anything like that. I mean, potentially like maybe a kid he hadn't met yet. But again, like we're talking only college students, only people who are there. They played until about 3:40 a.m., at which point Michael logged off. He then left his room, found the friend he'd been playing against, and depending on the account, either like congratulated him or high-fived him or something along those lines. According to that student, he then turned around and walked back toward his own room. And that was the last confirmed sighting of Michael Negrete. So Michael's roommate was already asleep by this point. So he doesn't know if Michael ended up making it back to his room after that or not.
Or made it back and then left again.
Exactly. We have no idea he slept through the whole thing. All he knows is that when he woke up the next morning at 9 a.m., Michael wasn't there.
So we have about a 5-hour gap.
Yeah, that's about the time that we're working with. But, that wasn't the craziest thing in the world to wake up on a Friday morning and have your roommate already be gone. Like, he assumed that Michael just was out, and just got up before him.
I have questions.
Okay, go for it. No, you can go.
Okay, so what was his typical Friday like? Like, did he have morning classes?
So that's a good question. I actually have not read in any of the articles like what his schedule was. If he had class on Friday mornings, if he didn't. One article said that the roommate figured that he might have gone home for the weekend. But again, I feel like when you're a freshman, you typically do have Friday classes. It's usually not until you're, later on that you can kind of work the
manipulate
schedule.
Your schedule.
Yeah,
totally.
I think especially first semester freshman year, like
it's all gen eds, and most of the gen eds are like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah, at like 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So I think it's reasonable to assume that he would have had class that morning, but I just don't have that confirmed.
Okay.
So his roommate wasn't worried when he woke up and Michael wasn't there. And when Michael didn't come back all weekend, he also really didn't panic or anything because, like I said, he just assumed he went home for the weekend or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, it's really important to have the context of it being 1999 and we just weren't as reachable then as we are now. Like some students had cell phones. As far as I know, Michael didn't. A lot of people didn't.
I didn't.
Yeah. And it was really normal to just take off for a weekend or whatever and not tell like half the people in your life.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially it's like I'm sure that he and his roommates were friendly.
Yeah. I don't know that they were particularly
close.
Been,
like best friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is pretty normal for that time period to just be like, I mean, like if you were going home, your parents would know you were coming home, but that was about it. Exactly.
And we didn't tell everybody where we were going all the time. Yeah. I mean, maybe we'd put an away message on on AOL Instant Messenger. But like my grandmother died sophomore year and it was the day we got back from spring break. So I found out in the morning before all of my classes. And so like I had friends. So I left and I went to Florida for a week for her funeral and everything. And like all of my friends just thought I didn't come back from spring break. Like, I just straight up disappeared for a full week and like didn't tell anyone.
And none of them reported you missing.
Right. Yeah. So,
Weird.
which maybe says something about me, but yeah. So like, it's just so normal.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Yeah.
And now I feel old because
Right.
I just said it was a different time.
It was a different time. But when Monday came around and Michael still wasn't there and he missed class and didn't show up for band practice, that's when people started to get worried. He also apparently had like a brass rehearsal with school, and I think Island Fever might have had a gig or something like that because it says that he missed a steel drum performance. So, by Monday, he was missing things, and he was not the type of guy to miss things. So that's when everybody started to get concerned. So I don't know if it was his roommate or another one of his friends, but somebody did call Michael's parents on Monday just to see if he had gone home, if he was still there, like if he was sick, like what was going on. But of course, Michael's parents hadn't heard from him. So once his parents learned that he hadn't been seen since early Friday morning, they reported him missing to campus police. So on the day that he was reported missing, December 13th, it looked as though wherever Michael was, he had left of his own volition. But the question was why? And how long was he planning to be gone? His dorm room ended up revealing some interesting clues. Y'all, I've been on the internet for a long time, and I have so many different logins on so many different websites. But sometimes you see a purple button at the top of the payment options, and it makes everything so much easier. You can just complete your checkout with the tap of one button. So you already know I'm talking about Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Heinz and Skims to brands just getting started. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And you can get the word out like you have a whole marketing team behind you, even if it's just you. You can easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/ATTWG. Go to shopify.com/ATTWG. That's shopify.com/ATTWG. Ethan will tell you I am so bad at feeding myself, which is why even though I work from home, I have come to love Factor. Because for me, healthy eating isn't a willpower problem, it's a setup problem. Factor has meals that are built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support. Factor meals are fresh and never frozen. They have over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian, so there's always something new to look forward to. And you have to try their new salads with vibrant ingredients like elote corn and miso edamame. They have this miso edamame tofu salad that I am obsessed with. It's ready in 2 minutes. It's delivered straight to your door. You barely have to think about it, and that's my favorite part. So head to factormeals.com/ATTWG50off and use code ATTWG50off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscriptions only while supplies last until 9/27/26. See website for more details. Your body is already sending you signals, and for me, the signals are loud. The afternoon crashes, the plateau at the gym, the sleep issues that won't resolve. Gevity helps you look under the hood and actually address them. Gevity is the first all-in-one precision health membership that goes beyond the traditional healthcare system, which is designed to react, not to prevent. You go in once a year, get a basic panel, and here, everything looks fine. But fine is a low bar. It means nothing is critically wrong right now, not that something isn't coming around the corner. Heart disease, metabolic dysfunction, hormonal decline, these don't show up overnight. They develop quietly, sometimes for years, while the system tells you that you're healthy. With your Gevity membership, you get a dedicated 3-person care team, including a longevity specialist and clinician to guide your health journey. You get full body testing beyond blood work, including gut microbiome analysis, advanced genetic testing, cancer screening, and more. Right now, we're offering our listeners 20% off your purchase if you go to our link, gojevity.com/gone, and use code ATTWG. That's gojevity.com, GOGEVITI.com/gone to get 20% off your purchase with promo code ATTWG. Now, early reports aren't incredibly detailed in terms of when it was discovered what Michael had left behind in his dorm room. I'm not sure if it was when it was searched after he was reported missing, or if his roommate had kind of already noticed these things. But here's what was left behind: Michael's wallet, keys, his ID, money, his Bruin card, which served as his school ID and meal card, his musical instruments, and his clothing. Even his shoes were left behind.
Okay. The shoes. That's interesting.
Yeah. The detective who worked this case for years for the LA County Sheriff's Department, Bill Howell, described the scene to the Daily Bruin, which is UCLA's student newspaper, saying, quote, "Usually when someone wants to disappear, they take something they want. Everything that meant anything to Michael was left in the room," end quote. But despite this, police initially treated it as a voluntary disappearance, because after all, that was the most likely scenario, despite everything that was left behind. There was no violent struggle in the room. Michael hadn't failed to return home from like a hiking trip or, something that would indicate that he was in danger somewhere.
Right.
He was in his dorm and then he left and didn't come back. He wasn't the first college kid to get overwhelmed and take off, especially considering it was finals. So while both campus police and the sheriff's department investigated, they weren't exactly going all out on day one. However, as the days passed with no sign of Michael and no activity on any of his bank accounts, the search expanded. The FBI ended up assisting as well, and at its peak, there were 7 detectives working this case at the same time. Officers went door to door through Dykstra Hall and the other dorms. They searched the building's garbage chute. Like, they literally had somebody rappel down the garbage chute.
It's a pretty damn big garbage chute.
Yeah. They searched construction sites all over campus, thinking maybe Michael could have gone outside and, fallen into something.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually extended the search across the entire UC system and into Arizona, Nevada, San Francisco, San Diego, and Long Beach. They interviewed more than 100 students. The sheriff's department also brought in bloodhounds early on, and the dogs were able to pick up Michael's scent. They traced it out of the dorm and down to a bus stop on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Bellagio Drive, roughly a mile away, but it was in kind of like a weird zigzag pattern.
Okay.
But then the scent ended.
Okay, so can I go with things at this point?
Uh-huh.
All right, so the zigzag pattern leads me to believe that maybe he was drunk, kind of stammering around, gets to the bus stop and gets on the bus. That's why the trail ended.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm wondering what was the bus schedule? Because you said last known sighting of him was 3:40 in the morning. So what is this like? Is this the first bus? Is there a 4 a.m. bus? And then where does that bus go? These are all things that I'm sure I hope the detectives
No, they did.
Right
did.
Away.
And unfortunately, that information didn't make it into the news articles, like the specifics of the bus schedule and all of that. But yeah, the police did look very hard into that aspect because really they had so little to go on that was the first kind of solid-ish clue that they had.
But it's also interesting to note that if he left the dorm without any money, how did he get on the bus?
Exactly. Now, there is a possibility that he could have had a couple of dollars in cash in his pocket.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it sounds like there was cash left behind, but we don't know if that was all of his cash, right? He could have stuck a 20 in his pocket or whatever, and nobody would have necessarily known. So police, like I said, did really look into that. They interviewed bus drivers and riders. Anybody who would have been on the bus, around that time, every driver who was on shift that morning, they talked to everybody that they could. Volunteers also papered the bus routes with flyers, but not a single person remembered seeing Michael. I feel like this is odd because Michael would have been like somewhat memorable. Because despite the fact that UCLA is a large school in the middle of Los Angeles, according to multiple people who were students there at the time, it would have been a ghost town at like 4:30 on a Friday morning.
Sure.
And then there's also the possibility, though unconfirmed, that Michael was barefoot. Because again, his shoes were left behind. So we know he wasn't wearing regular shoes. At most, I've seen some reports saying that he could have been wearing like slides or, flip-flops, like slippers, shower shoes, something along those lines, which if that's the case, that wouldn't have stuck out to anyone. Because yes, he wasn't dressed completely for the weather.
I mean, it's December, sure, but it's LA.
It is. So it was in the 50s, which was cold for LA. But like he was last seen wearing a short sleeve button down shirt and khaki shorts, which again, cold for that weather, but he's also a teenage boy and they're not exactly known for dressing like properly, you know? So I don't think that would have stood out. Obviously, if he were barefoot, I think that would have stood out. But just the fact that he was out theoretically at a bus stop at 4 a.m, like a driver, I feel like would have remembered that, if not the passengers.
If there were any other passengers, yeah.
Exactly, right? Like, so I'm not surprised that, they didn't get any information from passengers. I am surprised that there wasn't a driver because I think that absolutely would have stuck out. Over the years, after the bus stop clue ended up going nowhere, police have said that the dogs might have just been confused. So they don't even know that if that was even real. Like they're saying that maybe they had tracked Michael's scent, but it wasn't from like that morning. Maybe it was from the day before or something like that when he took the bus. Or maybe they just screwed up completely and went to the wrong place. And that's really indicative of this case. Like you get a clue that seems like it may lead somewhere only to end up at a dead end. But in June of 2000, another clue looked even more promising. In an effort to drum up new leads in a case that went cold almost instantly, by which I mean, so he went missing December 10th, 1999. By March 2000, it was labeled as inactive.
Wow.
Yeah. So in June, the sheriff's department gave a questionnaire to every resident of Dykstra Hall, trying to shake loose anything anyone might have seen that night. And it worked. According to witnesses, there was a man who had been seen acting suspiciously on or around the 6th floor of Dykstra Hall in the early morning hours of February 10th, 1999. Police were able to get enough information to create a sketch of the mysterious man. According to the Daily Bruin, he was described as white, about 5'7", with a heavy build and no facial hair. He was wearing a gray jacket with a turquoise design. But here's the reason that he stuck out to people. Because, that doesn't sound like something that people would necessarily register in a dorm. But this man appeared to be around 35 years old. He didn't look like a student. He looked like a grown adult man who had no obvious reason to be on the 6th floor of a freshman dorm at 4:30 in the morning. Now, the frustrating thing about this lead is that it was apparently reported shortly after Michael disappeared.
Really?
Yeah, but wasn't acted on until it was brought up again 6 months later. Because like my first thought when I was, hearing this is like, okay, but maybe, they had the wrong night. Like maybe it wasn't December 10th. Like maybe it was just a different day and people just connected it to Michael's case.
Yeah.
But according to the Daily Bruin, it was reported immediately, which gives it a lot more credence in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. But to defend the cops, Michael wasn't reported missing until Monday.
Yeah.
Not to say that they shouldn't have looked into the records of, police reports coming out of that hall.
Well, I don't know that it was a police report. I think that was just something a student said when the police started going around the hall asking about Michael's disappearance.
So maybe it didn't end up back at like the lead detective.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I really don't know. So the sketch was circulated, and there are a lot of theories about it online, the most prevalent of which is that it looks like Mark Collins' Rector. Mark Collins Rector is a registered sex offender who is suspected of running a sex ring where Hollywood executives abused underage boys. So the idea there is that he may have been in communication with Michael. Michael left with him voluntarily, and then something bad happened after that. But, I mean, it's all just speculation based really on the fact that, and honestly, this sketch doesn't even really look like him. The only similarity is that there are, 2 indents on his forehead.
Okay.
That are seen in the sketch and are seen in Rector's mugshot or driver's license picture. I don't even know what the photo was that I saw. So there's that. And he did live 15 minutes from campus. So he was in the area at that time. But that's really all they have to go on.
Okay. I mean, do we assume that the cops talked to him?
I don't think he was. No.
Or was he registered at the time? Or did this all come out later?
I think it all came out later.
So there you go.
So I don't believe he was ever talked to. He actually disappeared apparently in 2007. I don't know. I didn't really get very deep into his whole deal. But yeah, I think that the connection has been made just really by people on the internet
saying it looks like him.
Yeah, in the last, 10 years or whatever.
Gotcha.
So the man in the sketch has never been identified, so we don't even know if this had anything to do with Michael's disappearance at all. Maybe he was the answer and maybe he was nobody. We just don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. So, I mean, you have this 30-something-year-old dude skulking around on the 6th floor of the freshman dorm, and then one of the freshmen goes missing.
Yeah.
From that floor. I think they're connected. To what end? I don't know.
Exactly. Who is he? Why was he there? Does he know Michael?
And why did Michael leave voluntarily, potentially without shoes or at the very least without any of his belongings?
Right. The only other clue that may or may not be related to this man came from Detective Howell in a 2003 interview with the Daily Bruin. He said that there may be witnesses who saw a man matching Michael's description walking out of the front door of Dykstra Hall around 4:35 a.m.
Timeline would fit.
Exactly. So if that man was there, that's around the time the man was seen in Dykstra Hall. That's after Michael, went and high-fived his friend or whatever. So yes, if Michael did leave voluntarily, that sighting makes sense. It could be related to the guy. I mean, it also could not be related to the guy because from what I understand, they weren't seen leaving together.
Right. At no point were they seen together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I have seen people say that there was video footage. There was apparently some sort of security camera that caught Michael leaving at 4:35. But I haven't seen that confirmed. I don't know if that video footage exists. And it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. Because, again, UCLA, yes, it's a bigger school than the school I went to. It's in a city, so maybe they had cameras. None of our dorms had cameras in 1999.
All of ours did.
No, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you went to a much bigger school than I did.
Yeah, Penn State had cameras on the entrance and exit doors of every dorm.
Okay, yeah. We didn't have any cameras. We didn't have security people. We didn't have
we had our own police force. So.
Well, yeah. But did you have a security person in the dorm, in the lobby or anything?
Some of them. Not all of them.
Okay, yeah. So none of ours did at the time. That just was not a thing.
All of the all-female dorms had security in place.
Oh, see, and I lived in an all-female dorm freshman year and we didn't have anything. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if the video footage exists. If it does exist, it's never been released.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, I know that the cameras were there, and I was actually one of those security guards.
Yeah,
and I remember monitoring them, but I don't remember.
Oh, if they were recorded?
Yeah, where they were.
Yeah,
I mean, the ones at the dorms where there wasn't a security person on site. Where does that camera footage go? I assume it was recorded, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then, I wonder, I mean, how long would it have been kept?
That's...
Yeah. So here's the awful part. Everything that I've told you is it. Over 25 years later, and that is basically all we have. A dorm room full of a student's belongings, bank accounts that were never touched, a scent trail to a bus stop that might not mean anything, and a sketch of a man nobody could ever identify. Now, detectives thought that Michael's computer may hold the answers since he was known to have been on it right before his disappearance. According to a January 6, 2000 article in the North County Times, technicians went through Michael's hard drive line by line. What they found, if anything, was never released, but it clearly didn't lead to Michael or a suspect.
Right.
The only other information I was able to find about his computer came several years later when an article said that a shared drive on the computer had been erased accidentally by police.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would have been my next step, or, one of the first steps is figure out if he was talking to anybody on the computer.
Right. And again, I mean, I don't know if, I'm assuming just based on it being 1999 that he had an AOL Instant Messenger account,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think those chat logs were saved.
Mm.
Like, I know
I
some
don't know
other,
enough about that.
Yeah, I just don't remember. And I know other messenger apps that kind of came later, you could save them. I just don't know that Instant Messenger had that option.
Was MySpace out in 99?
No.
I forget when.
No,
that
MySpace,
happened.
that was much later.
Okay. Friendster?
No, later. I mean, obviously, if he had been sending emails,
that would have been kept. Yeah.
That would have been there.
Right.
If he were posting on like message boards online, that was a huge thing in 1999. They could have potentially found those accounts, just by looking in his emails saying like, oh, like when you create the account, like you get the confirmation email, you get the password email, you get those. Like if he didn't delete them.
What about chat rooms?
Same thing, like I don't know if he was in any of those, if they were able to find any information from those. Like, again, what they were able to find from searching his computer just really
didn't lead anywhere.
Yeah, and it just hasn't been made public too. And I just don't know how thoroughly they did it, because again, going through your computer, going through your hard drive is one thing, but I wouldn't expect much to be there at all.
Right.
What I would expect if there was something going on in his life, it would have been online.
Right.
It would have been messages. It would have been, like you said, a chat room. It would have been a message board. It would have been something like that.
But there's still traces that would lead you either to the chat room or to a message board or something like you were just talking about.
Yeah, if they looked.
Right.
And I just don't know if they were
digging that deeply into it, or even had the knowledge to look that deep into it.
That's more what I'm wondering,
Yeah.
Because I feel like, they had technicians looking at it, but they mentioned the hard drive specifically. Like, I don't know where they were professionally in 1999 in terms of like what, if they knew what to look for online.
Right.
And because we've had cases that happened a decade later and police weren't doing shit like that. I mean, the Bethany Decker case could have been solved in 2011 if they had like looked at her Facebook logs.
Right.
If they had subpoenaed Facebook, gotten the information, they would have found a decade before they made an arrest that he was using her Facebook account and posing as her.
Right.
But they didn't do it. And so that was like in 2011, what were they doing in 1999 and what weren't they doing in 1999?
I mean, I remember CSI when, the first show came out.
Yeah.
And they were doing all that, Hollywood was doing all of that. But,
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, you're talking, and this isn't a knock on the detectives in 1999. You have to think about it. Like the detectives in 1999 were at their earliest in their 30s, probably. So now you're talking about people that were born before computers were ever a thing.
Yeah.
Long before the internet was ever a thing.
Well, and
they just wouldn't have known.
No, and I'm willing to bet that they were still typing their reports on typewriters.
Oh, absolutely they were. Yeah.
Because in 1999, I was doing purchase orders at my job on a typewriter because they were like on carbon paper.
On
you know what I mean?
copies, yeah.
So they had to be done on I had a computer, but they had to be done on a typewriter. And police departments are notoriously behind the times technologically.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like that. So it wouldn't, yes, they obviously had tech people employed. They had technicians, whatever. It's not the detectives who are going through the computers.
Yeah.
But again, it would not surprise me if there were things that they missed.
Yeah, totally.
And I do think that if there are answers to be had in this case, that's probably where they are. But at the end of the day, even with 500 plus leads, the sheriff's detectives have said that none of them ever uncovered anything truly significant. Detective Howell summed it up back in 2003. Quote, "We're baffled. With 60 years between my partner and I, we've never seen anything like this." End quote. So let's talk about what could have happened, because even though the evidence is non-existent, really, people have spent decades trying to come up with some sort of answer. It's summertime, so I'm looking for lighter fabrics, better materials, and pieces that just feel good the moment you put them on. That's why I keep coming back to Quince. They focus on high-quality essentials, breathable linen, soft organic cotton, washable silk, but without the luxury markup. Quince has beautiful everyday pieces like 100% European linen pants, dresses, and tops with styles starting at just $32. And let me tell you, I wore my Quince linen pants yesterday. I absolutely adore them. I can still look polished while staying cool. And I love a deal, so you know that I love the fact that everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. So elevate your summer wardrobe. Go to quince.com/ATTWG for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/ATTWG for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/ATTWG. You should never have to choose between a home that looks great and one that's actually livable. Between pets, kids, spills, some of which are done by my kids, many of which are done by me, the new Ruggable All-in-One Rug delivers premium design with the peace of mind of being machine washable, stain resistant, and non-slip. I came to the conclusion long ago that I need machine washable rugs in my home. And Ruggable has the most beautiful designs, whether it's vintage-inspired, neutral, modern, whatever your style is, you will find it at Ruggable. They're stain-resistant for everyday spills, but they have a high-quality look and feel. And most importantly, they're durable and built for your life. Refresh your home at Ruggable.com. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with promo code ATTWG at Ruggable.com. That's RUGGABLE.com and use code ATTWG at checkout. You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customer survey who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary. The first theory is that Michael left voluntarily. As I mentioned earlier, that's what police initially assumed happened. But they also thought he'd be back, not that he ran off to start a new life.
Right.
Even Mary, Michael's mother, had said that that's what she believed. She has said that her first emotion when learning about her son's disappearance wasn't fear, it was irritation. She thought that he had run off somewhere without telling her, and she was pissed. But of course, that all changed once everyone realized that Michael hadn't taken anything with him, including money or shoes. Now, the second theory is some sort of accident or medical event. Michael wandered off in the night, maybe was disoriented, and something happened to him. Now, a big part of this theory is all of that construction that was going on around Dykstra Hall at the time. And people have said that, like, the entire campus was basically a construction site. A lot of people believe that Michael could have left to grab, like, a late night snack or something along those lines, and he could have fallen into some sort of construction site. But the problem with this is that the police thought of that possibility,
and
so
searched everything.
They searched everything. But again, they searched everything days later. So there is a possibility that maybe if he did fall into something, nobody realized and he was inadvertently covered up before police were able to search. Now, there are other people who say that he was purposely covered up and there's like literally a cover up between like the construction company, the school, and whatever, which I don't buy
That's
it. Like,
pretty far-fetched.
That's pretty far-fetched. I can believe like an accident.
I mean, I can believe an accident, but the thought of like the thought of construction people like going into a construction zone and not seeing a body.
Yeah.
It's not like they're just like blindly spraying concrete all over everything. You know what I mean? Like people look before they start working on a construction site.
Right.
It's not, like, that's mildly ridiculous to say, oh, he fell into some sort of construction site and then the construction workers didn't see him and just started, covered him up with concrete or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really happen.
Yeah, I don't know, but but that's the thing. It's like nothing about this makes sense. So it's like you got, people are throwing out all possibilities. Now, the third theory is, of course, foul play, which is what law enforcement now believes happened. By the 1-year anniversary of Michael's disappearance, the headline in the North County Times was "Missing Student Believed Dead." The case had already been with the homicide unit for months by then, but in this article, Detective Howell was blunt. He said, quote, "We are handling this as a death investigation. I'd like nothing more than to tell his mother he is alive and we have located him, but at this point, I am not convinced I will be able to do that." End quote. The belief basically is that Michael encountered someone, that he was either lured or taken from that dorm, possibly by the man in the sketch, or possibly someone else entirely. He was then killed, and his body has simply never been found. But of course, there's no body, no crime scene, no murder weapon, no named suspect, no confession. Police are fairly certain something terrible happened to Michael. They've just never been able to prove who or how or where. Even Michael's mother seems to have conceded this, telling reporters just 4 months after his disappearance, quote, "I've always thought something terrible happened to him, but there's no evidence of it," end quote. Interestingly, years later, in 2013, Michael's younger brother Steve posted his personal theory about what happened to his brother. On his Tumblr account, he said that despite his family's insistence that Michael hadn't been experimenting with drugs, he had found out in the months before Michael disappeared, he had started going to raves and had experimented with ecstasy. According to Steve, quote, "My personal theory is that he was under the influence of ecstasy or some other substance, left the dorm for whatever reason, and was picked up by one of those people your mother warns you about," end quote. Now, it's been established that I'm not currently, nor was I ever cool, so I don't know a whole lot about ecstasy. But it doesn't really strike me as a drug that you take and then like go play video games for hours.
It depends on the video game.
I mean, I guess.
Sure.
But, there was a commenter on Web Sleuths who said that a lot of ecstasy at that point was like kind of speedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So something like that would fit better, I think. Like, you take something that's like keeping you up and you're like, I'm going to go play video games for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So like that kind of makes sense. But, again, like I said, I went to a medium-sized school on the East Coast, which is very different from going to UCLA. But like, I don't know, a middle of the night like drug deal or something, I feel like wasn't really what people were doing. I think it's more like you're getting ready to go to a party, you're at a party, you know a guy. Like
also, typically people didn't just like take ecstasy and hang out by themselves.
Well, exactly, right?
That's why it was popular in the rave scene, because you'd take ecstasy and then you'd get all touchy-feely.
Yeah.
And not sexual, but like it heightens your sensations. So you're like rubbing against velour couches or things like that. You know what I mean? So like that's not something that you would do by yourself.
Right.
Now, if he had taken it while
he was at the party,
sure. But then it does not, that doesn't explain why he would have left the dorm at 4 a.m.
Exactly. And, you know, again, obviously kids lie about drug use and things like that. So it could have happened at the party. But Ross, the friend who threw the party, did an interview with the Daily Bruin just a few years ago. So like as a full adult in his 40s and didn't say anything like that. I feel like at that point, if there were drugs, if there was something going on at the party that you weren't telling cops when you were 18,
right?
Like you can, like there's no reason not to just say that now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know that that's really what was going on, but I don't know. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's hard to say, you know, just with a complete lack of evidence.
But you said you had theories after I did the intro.
Well, yeah, my theory was that he was under the influence more so than people thought, and he stumbled out, meandered to a bus stop, got on the bus, went somewhere, and then something happened.
So you think he did get on the bus, and the drivers didn't remember?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's L.A., right?
Yeah, but it's like a very specific part of LA. You know, it's not like he was downtown.
Sure, but I mean, they didn't question the bus drivers until the earliest Tuesday, and he went missing on a Friday.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to take into consideration, even if that was that bus driver's route. 4 a.m. every day starting. You know what I mean? Like there's after days and days of seeing, a million white kids from UCLA, they blend together.
Well, exactly. And that's what I was about to say. Michael looks like literally every kid we went to college with.
Yeah.
You know?
It's easy for us to say, or for people to say, oh, UCLA at 4 a.m. is a ghost town. Well, what if he didn't get on the bus by himself? What if he got on with 3 or 4 people?
Yeah.
Then it's just a whole gaggle of college kids, and drivers probably not even going to look them in the eye as long as they pay their fare.
Yeah.
I think it's far more likely that happened. He went somewhere, why we don't know, and then something happened to him. It is still bizarre to me that this many years later that we have no body or anything.
Right.
But how many other cases have we seen that in?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's far more likely. He walked out the front door of the dorm, which somebody said that they saw him, meandered down to the bus stop, got on the bus with somebody or some people, and then something happened to him. Because I also don't believe that like Bloodhounds would just make mistakes like that.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't think they could have just been, following his scent from like the day before, or, like maybe he rode the bus Friday afternoon or Thursday afternoon, I mean?
I don't know. I don't know how long scents like that stick around.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
Because they didn't start the search until Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know what day they brought the Bloodhounds out.
Right. So the mere fact that they picked up anything could be exceptional in and of itself. But either way, we have that sighting that he left. Nothing happened in the dorms. We know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for whatever reason, he left the dorm on his own.
But like without taking anything with him.
Well, that's why I don't think he was going very far.
Yeah. But then why would he have gotten on a bus?
I don't know. I don't know where his dorm is in relation to anything that would have been open at 4 a.m.
Because the bus stop, again, was like a 15-minute walk away.
Right. And 4 a.m, you assume everything aside from vending machines is probably closed on campus.
Right.
So maybe he was walking somewhere to get something to eat, something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Or the detectives did miss something in the chat rooms and he went out to meet somebody.
Yeah.
And then something bad happened.
I lean more toward that.
It's a possibility.
I think there's there's somebody else involved. And I don't know, who or what or why, but like, I am inclined to believe that there was something in his internet history that would shed a lot of light on this.
Now, obviously, the detectives probably aren't going to make this public, but has anybody said, was he gay? Did he have a history of random hookups with guys?
Yeah.
Anything like that? Was this something like this? Could it have been a common occurrence? His roommate would potentially have known that.
Yeah.
Or at least known that he wandered off or left at odd hours or whatever.
Right.
If that pattern of behavior hadn't been established, then that makes that theory a little less likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. And that theory has been brought up as well. Like if you look online about this case, people have wondered that exact thing.
Right.
But there's no evidence of that we know of.
Right. But again, the whole thought of him going out late night to score drugs, if ecstasy was his drug of choice, that's not really something that you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, again, do it at the party.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Well, and that's the other thing.
But you're not going to like 4 a.m. be like, oh, I need another hit of ecstasy.
Right. Like that's not how that works. And again, even his brother says that like he had been going to raves and experimenting. That's not the same as like having a drug problem where you're leaving in the middle of the night to score. Like that's just a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence of that because I think if that is what was going on, people in his life would have noticed that something was going on with him.
Right.
Your behavior would have changed. Yep. Like maybe you would have been missing band practice or, that your grades would have been slipping. Like there would have been, I feel like, signs if it was something more than just experimentation.
Right.
And there just weren't those signs. Michael's family has had to deal with not only the pain of losing him, but of having basically no clues. There's not even an inkling of, well, this is what likely happened, because nothing about this case is likely. The initial reward for information in Michael's case was $5,000, but even when his family raised it to $100,000, nothing came. They hired private investigators, they held benefit concerts, they did interviews, but nothing. In December 2024, around the 25th anniversary, UCLA's police department publicly reaffirmed that this is still an open, active cold case. The Daily Bruin did a beautiful in-depth piece for the anniversary, talking to current UCLA police officials and to Ross Wolf, the friend who hosted that party across the hall. And like I said, he was one of Michael's closest friends and one of the last people to see him, and that's something he's had to carry for the last 25 years as well. Michael Negrete would be 45 years old today. He should be a working musician or a dad or just some guy in his 40s who still does Simpsons bits. Instead, his family has spent more than a quarter of a century waiting for an answer that has never come. They just want to know what happened to Michael. They just want to bring him home. Michael Negrete has been missing from the UCLA campus in Los Angeles, California since December 10th, 1999. He is a white male with brown eyes and brown hair, which he wore in a crew cut. At the time of his disappearance, he was approximately 5'8" and about 130 pounds. He was last seen wearing a blue plaid shirt and khaki shorts. Michael was 18 years old when he went missing. He would be 45 today. If you have any information about the disappearance of Michael Negrete, please contact the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500 and reference case number 0199003533. You can also contact the UCLA Police Department at 310-825-1491. You can see all the sources for this episode along with photos and videos at our website, andthentheyweregone.com.
And be sure to follow us on social, And Then They Were Gone Pod on Facebook and at ATTWG Pod on Instagram and TikTok. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe and consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It will help new listeners find us. And the more people that listen, the more chances we have of bringing someone home.
And we'll see you here next week for a brand new episode.
See you next week.
And Then They Were Gone is hosted by Kona Gallagher and Ethan Flick. All research, writing, and editing is done by me, Kona Gallagher. Theme music is The Stork by Ketsa. Additional music is provided by Kai Engel. And Then They Were Gone is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!